Hi, Erica. Thanks for joining me today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So, first of all, I want to congratulate you on winning the inaugural Plant Manager of the Year award. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So, you are the first female plant manager in your facility's 99-year history. Now, what did it feel like to walk in on day one knowing that? And how did that impact you?
I think I was extremely fortunate because I have worked in this plant for so many years before I changed positions. So the team at this plant has been like family to me for many, many years. But I knew that it was going to be a big change for everyone to see me in a different role. And it was a change for myself as well, because my entire career has been in the quality space.
Mhm.
And now I needed to shift to have more of an operations mindset and focus. So it was a journey for all of us. I think my confidence level at the beginning was not so high, but I made sure that I leaned into what I knew people knew me for. And that was for being a good listener, and for asking questions when I didn't know, and making sure that I used my network that I have established over the years within Ardent Mills. If I didn't have the answer, I knew who I could go to ask for help. And I think that that really helped to build trust over time as people got accustomed to me being in the role. And I think also just trying to constantly be listening and leading by example, really setting the tone as to what kind of a plant manager I wanted to be. I also think that my predecessor, the former plant manager, Don Bunis, did an excellent job of setting the stage with our team before I took the role on. He made sure that people were aware that the change was coming. He kind of socialized the idea with folks so that they could get their heads around, okay, this is going to be different. And that really set the tone to be able to set me up for success. And in the end, I think I really tried to lead with courage and kindness and consistency. And I felt like that's been my brand in the past. As long as I continue to represent that brand, people will know and understand who I am and that nothing really has changed, just my title. And I really wanted to lean into Ardent Mills' safety value, because I think it aligned closely with my former role being in charge of food safety. And it also helped me make sure that we were raising the bar and setting those expectations high when I first came into the role, to let people know that we really were going to lean into that value and embrace it, and start doing things a little bit differently, trying to make sure that we were following up more quickly, that we were taking action when we needed to, trying to modernize our safety infrastructure at the plant, really leaning into that and showing people that that is important to me and it needs to be important to them as well.
Absolutely amazing, Erica. Now, in your nomination form, your colleagues said that under your guidance, the plant has maintained strong cultural performance and consistently high employee engagement. Your colleague also said that in the fall 2025 survey, the plant delivered results that exceeded overall company benchmarks, even while navigating the added complexity of a collective bargaining negotiation. Now, how important is culture and employee engagement to you, and how did you achieve these results? I'm curious about I'm curious about the time when there was bargaining, when there was an agreement, bargaining negotiations happening.
Yeah, thank you. I think team member engagement and plant culture in manufacturing just plays such a huge role in the success of your plant. When the team can find ways to work effectively together, great things are always going to happen. And just like any family, we have our differences from time to time. When you're talking about things like negotiations, it can be a little bit awkward and tricky sometimes. But we try to stay grounded in the Ardent Mills purpose, which is to nourish the world through nutritious ingredients and innovative solutions. And that shared purpose helps us to communicate through the tough times, and just focus on where we really want to make good and healthy products for everyone. I think, when it comes to engagement, people really want to enjoy the work that they do. We spend a lot of our life at work. And if you
Yeah.
don't enjoy getting up in the morning and going to work, then it doesn't motivate you to want to come to work in the first place, right? So I don't think that free lunches and parties are really the way to people's hearts, although don't get me wrong, everybody loves a free lunch. But I think it can be just the basics of looking at things like, is the lighting good in your area?
Yeah.
If you can't see the equipment that you're being asked to work on every day and clean around and troubleshoot, then that makes your job harder. So if we can look at those little things, are we giving feedback to people when they bring forward a question or a problem? We may not be able to solve it immediately, but at least if we can constantly provide them updates as to where we're at with it, what are we investigating behind the scenes, then they feel seen and heard, and that makes them happier to come to work in the end of the day. So I really have to give credit to our team, management team as well. I think when the rest of our team sees our management team coming together, working together well, that raises their confidence that we truly
Yeah.
want the best for the entire plant. And so I think when we're really executing on those moments well, it reflects well for the entire plant.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you, Erica. Now, you also oversaw a $10 million investment in new retail pack lines. What's something that went wrong or challenged you during that project? And how did your team work through it?
So that project, we were so extremely fortunate to be awarded the capital for that project because it was really cementing in the relationship that we have with our number one retail customer to say that, hey, we're willing to invest in this business and we want to see it continue for many years to come. So it was really a feather in our hat to be awarded that capital in the first place. It was extremely daunting to me because that capital project was released right at the time when I became plant manager. So all of this was pretty new to me. And then on top of that, we found out that our maintenance and our capital project manager here on site had decided to retire. And his retirement was going to fall kind of right in the middle of the project. So that was a very daunting thing to get my head around as to,
Yeah.
okay, we're losing our number one person that has been involved in this project to date. How are we going to manage through that change? How are we going to make sure that this project doesn't fail? And so we really took a good look at that and tried to come up with an action plan that enabled it got us hiring his replacement as soon as possible and building a plan for succession so that there was some overlap time where he could share some of his knowledge. But it also called into attention that we had a warehouse manager, Alejandro Manzo, who had worked on this type of project in his past work experience, not something that he's responsible for day to day normally at our plant. But it was an opportunity to really hand him the reins and let him shine at what he was good at. And I think that enabled the new project manager to sort of ease into things, not feel completely under pressure for a $10 million project right on his first day. And it gave the power to the warehouse manager to be able to enact changes when he saw things that needed to be adjusted in the plan. He was very hands-on on getting the lines running. It really lifted him up in his role, and it helped him build a tremendous name for himself within the company by executing on it. So I think all in all, it all came together very well. It was just pretty scary when it first started to happen.
Absolutely. Talk about timing, right? We're
Yeah,
retiring when such a big project is on. So that's a huge thing. And kudos to you for making sure the project went ahead and without too many interruptions and disruptions. Thank
for
you.
sure, for sure.
Yeah. Um, Erica, based on your experience so far, what advice would you give for a young woman on the plant floor who aspires to one day become a plant manager?
I have so many thoughts on that. If you had asked me at the start of my career if I ever aspired or thought that I would be a plant manager, I would have been blown away by that idea. It just wasn't even something that had crossed my mind. I think I have been extremely fortunate throughout my career to have many people encourage and invest in my personal development. And that's really helped me to get to this point. There were times when people invited me to lead a project or join a committee, and I didn't think that I had the right skills to be able to contribute. But it presented a challenge that pushed me to have to learn these new things, new skills. And I think I was surprised by what I was capable of by being put into those situations. So I think that makes my mind go to where I know as women, we often see the research that says that women tend to wait until they can tick every single box on a job
Yes.
application, because they want to make sure that they can do everything that's being asked. And I think we need to challenge ourselves more to consider what we're capable of. We may not have done it before, but that doesn't
Mm,
mean that we can't do it or we can't learn to do it. So,
mm.
I would say that my experience has proven that that can come to fruition if you just are willing to be brave and try. Um, I think another thing that I would tell my younger self is take advantage of anybody that offers a mentoring opportunity. So I think, especially when I was young, I tended to lean towards more people that looked like me or had similar experiences or backgrounds to me. But the more you open yourself up to people that are different from you, you're going to learn that much more. And that's really going to help you in your career. And then finally, I would say, I think the biggest skill that you can apply is to listen first.
Yeah.
In my experience in manufacturing, I've seen the ability to work with people from many different generations. Oftentimes, there's been people that have worked in a plant for almost their entire career, and those peoples are experts. They know
Yeah.
what they're doing. They know how to do the job. And if we can listen to them and learn from them first before trying to enact change, sometimes when you're young and you're fired up, you want to start making change immediately when you come into a new role. But I have
Mm.
found in my experience that if you listen first to the experts, there will be a chance to entertain change down the road, but really absorbing what they know and why they do things the way they do, can really set you up for success in enabling change in the future.
That's great, Erica. Talking about mentorship, I quickly wanted to, I noticed you have WOW in your background there. I know it's an Ardent Mills initiative. Would you like to explain that a little more to us?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So
Mm.
WOW stands for Women of Wheat. It's our inaugural employee resource group that started back in 2017 in Ardent Mills. And it was formed to really create a safe space for women to come and be able to express themselves, to be able to learn from each other, just a comfortable place where people and women felt they belonged. And it's evolved over the years. And now we really try to open it up to everyone within the company, so that there's learning opportunities for our allies, for people that want to understand how better to support the women that work within our business. And we have lots of great offshoots. We offer education moments. We offer something that we call Rise Circles, which are kind of our take on the Sheryl Sandberg Lean In Circles,
Right.
that are open to just women only, so that it's a small space where women can get to know each other better and share their experiences and their talk through any problems that they're having, so that they feel like they've got a strong network. So yeah, we're really proud of the group.
That's wonderful. Erica, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience members? Um, I know you're not going to be at the event and we're pre-recording this, but there's going to be a lot of women attending this webinar. And is there anything that you'd like to share with them?
I would just say, thank you, first of all, for this opportunity to speak to the group. I think women are extremely capable. I love that you're celebrating women, especially this week with International Women's Day coming up. And I just think the more that we can celebrate and support women in the manufacturing space, the more common it's going to become. And the sky's the limit.
That's great. That's perfect, Erica. Sky is the limit. Thank you so much and have a good day.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.